All right. You can all hear me well? Sounds good? Okay. I'm so happy to have you here. I have some people here. It's a Web3 talk, and I have some people here. I didn't expect that, and I'm so happy about that. So yes, we are having a little bit of a debate today, debating the blockchain backlash. So my name is Patrick Gross. I'm a product and strategy expert. I know a lot about how to make a successful game. It doesn't matter the business model. It doesn't matter a free-to-play, premium game, or Web3 game. I'm an expert in a lot of these genres and platforms and game types and business models. So I've been dealing with many different companies, including big AAA companies, small indie studios, and so on. And I'm seeing a lot of things. And I thought this is an important topic to talk about. Are the criticisms of Web3 and NFT indie games fair? And how does it feel to be an Web3 indie game developer these days? I want to talk about these things. This is not a NFT or blockchain glorification talk. This is a panel where we constructively want to talk about criticisms within the Web3 space together with you. So thank you so much for joining this little session of ours. First off, I want to start with a little story of myself. I know it's about the panelists, it's not about me, but let me start with this one, because I'm very angry. Because I've been playing a Web3 game. That's actually a real story, like that happened to me about 2 or 3 years ago. The game was called Raid Party. The game is all about raiding monsters, like beating monsters, fighting monsters, even monsters like that one. That's original graphics from that game. The game was about buying hero NFTs, putting together your party, and then battling these monsters. The better party you put together, the more damage you make, the more potential experience points called confetti you received. With the confetti, you can buy new heroes and put your team together. So the gameplay was mainly strategizing about putting a good team together. So I purchased heroes from my confetti I've earned. At some point, I also realized the confetti is actually worth money. It was not that you can directly make money through the game. It was all done through a DEX, a decentralized exchange. So other people wanted to give me money for my confetti. I didn't necessarily play the game for the money, but I realized that I make about $200 per day in form of confetti playing this game. So me being a pretty unexperienced investor, I thought like that sounds like pretty decent investment. So I bought more heroes and more heroes and more heroes and more heroes. So I invested a whole bunch of money into this game, but I made my $200 per day basically. I did one big investor mistake. I didn't take profits. I kept investing without taking profits in real money. So what does happen then? So the team working on this game, some people, some leadership people, they took a lot of the confetti out of the system, and everyone was able to see that, so it was at least transparent. Everyone knew that. But they paid themselves pretty well. That the community didn't really like that the leadership took so much money. And there was a lot of battling and fighting. And the leadership at some point was very passionate at first, but that at some point they got pissed. Sorry, my friend. And they weren't so motivated to work on the game anymore. But they already had all the money, so they thought like, yeah, whatever, let's not put so much effort into all this anymore. Let's do only the most necessary things. In the end, they didn't do any work at all, but there was still a passionate team behind it who wanted to make a great game, but without the leadership, that didn't work anymore. So also they lost their motivation within a few months. What did that mean for my confetti? It meant that nobody wanted to pay for the confetti anymore, meaning all my confetti got worthless. How much money in total did I invest and lose? What do you think? One guess, come on. How much money did I lose? 2,000. Greg says 2,000. Higher? Anyone higher? 10,000. $10,000. I lost $10,000. And yet, I came all the way from Japan 4 days ago, in fact, to have this talk and talk fairly about Web3 games. That is my story for you. Let's introduce our champions. That is, starting on the left, Stan. Stan from WeMade.
Hey guys, Stanislav Peter. I'm the general manager for WeMade/WeMix. But I'm coming originally from traditional gaming. So back 2012, I founded my own game development studio back in Warsaw, Poland. We, for example, did the Witcher Battle Arena, so a cooperation between us and CE Projekt, a mobile MOBA set within the Witcher universe, and developed many, many more games. Around 3 years ago, I handed over the management within the company, moved to the supervisory board, started to mentor and advise some early founders and teams to support them, give a little bit back to the industry. And then over a year ago, some friends of mine from Korea did reach out if I could help WeMade/WeMix to become better known also in Europe and to help more developers from Europe to come to the WeMix platform. And what is WeMade? It's a game development studio from Korea, 24 years on the market, since year 2000. Focus on MMORPGs. They have like 1,700 employees, over $500 million revenues last year. And they were specializing in MMORPG games. And in those games, you want to own the character, you want to own the sword, the armor, and so on. But usually in the past, if I would ask you, Patrick, how much money or did you get back from any other game that you played all of the other years? It's usually probably zero, because all of the money in traditional gaming goes in, nothing goes out, right? But when in Web3, so WeMade 4 years ago started to use the blockchain technology to give the users the ownership, so that finally, when you grind till the level, I can give you like an example that I checked just today. There is, for example, a character which is like level 162. That somebody leveled up to that level, and it was recently sold for 70,000 WeMix, which is around over $100,000. You got it? So compared to traditional games where you actually pretty much always can have zero out of the game, and then someday the game is being sunset, that's it. Then here, when you actually put the effort and invest your either time or money in the games, you can benefit from that as a user. So for the last 4 years, WeMade, as the subsidiary WeMix, is developing like a blockchain ecosystem, which currently has over 600,000 concurrent users. So basically, we would have probably like, I don't know, 30,000 of rooms like this to actually, in a given second, to fit in all of the players that are playing the games on the platform. So it's definitely growing, and I'm going to tell more details later on because I'm going to be stealing the show. So thank you very much, Patrick, for having me over here.
One more thing, Stan. Do you have a favorite game? A favorite game of all time?
Favorite game? So, you know, I'm actually quite old, so my favorite game back from the past is Another World.
Wow.
Yes.
I love that game. I played myself.
Yeah, because it's, look, if I think that it was like, what, 350 kilobytes or something like that, and there was the whole story, there were cinematics, there was amazing music,
right,
and everything you can imagine, whoa.
Nice.
Then a screenshot today of it waves more than the game back then, so that's crazy.
Thank you. Lenny from Antler Interactive.
Hi, I'm Lenny. I'm the CEO of Antler Interactive. Been there for 5 years, but I've been in the media and entertainment industry my entire career. Worked at Cartoon Network for 8 years and at Warner Media for a very long time. Yeah, we're a Stockholm-based studio. We develop great games, and games comes first. Oliver, my colleague, will tell a little bit more about the game we're developing right now. Should I mention my favorite game?
Yes.
Favorite game all time, Mass Effect.
Nice.
The
I love
whole
that.
trilogy.
Except for Andromeda, I hope.
It's not included.
Okay, and now Oliver, creative director from Antler Interactive.
Yeah, my name is Oliver, and I'm the creative director of Antler. And we are developing a game called Cloudborne. We have it demoing here, so would love for you to come there, give us feedback, and play the game and see a Web3 game. So Cloudborne is a turn-based RPG game set in a fantasy setting. But I say you come and test the game and see it for yourself. Yep.
Just a question, can everyone hear well over there? Perfect. Favorite game?
My favorite games are Path of Exile and Diablo 2. I like theory crafting, so I like spending more time thinking about the games than playing games. So
nice.
that is me.
And
Good choice.
okay, do you pronounce it properly? Okay, I tried to learn how to pronounce it.
It's fine. Everyone butcher my name anyway. Hi everyone, my name is Åke Andre. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Crypto Games. We are a studio with offices in Umeå, here in Sweden, and in Tallinn, Estonia. And we are building a steampunk action RPG hack and slash loot-driven game called Crystal Narmoons. And we have exactly the same favorite types of games.
Nice.
No wonder, it's loot-driven.
It's good games.
Yes.
I like Final Fantasy though. So let's have a look at some trailers. Who likes trailers? Everyone, right? Yeah, everyone likes trailers. So there we go. We start with the game from Antler Interactive, which is Cloudborne. Let's go. So note that these are all development builds. Everything in development, it will look even much fancier and nicer when we release the product, right?
Yeah, it's a polished vertical slice. So we're early development. That's why we come here to ask for feedback, to have players say their opinion, and just gather as much as feedback we can get.
So you got a lot of feedback from the users out there already, right?
Yeah, we've had a lot of players playing the game, testing the game, and we have super positive feedback and good feedback as well. And yeah, we were at GDC a couple of months ago as well, and we also had a huge success there as well. So yeah, just been great.
Did anyone try the game out there already? Nice. Few people. So anyone else, you should give it a try later. And it's really lovely what they put together, I believe. So next game trailer, that is Åke's game from Crypto Rogue Studios. Crypto Rogue Games, sorry. Crystals of Narromons. feels to me like there's a lot of the games you mentioned you love in there as well. Quite a lot of inspiration from your loved games, right?
Yes, I mean, there is everything about the item progression in this game is definitely a homage to D2, which I do consider to have one of the absolute best item progression out of action RPGs out there. So, yes, and same here. It's been positive feedbacks. What has been interesting for us is that when people have been playing the game, they don't even know that there's certain elements where they're actually touching the blockchain, and that has been surprising people because when you hear Web3, I think a lot of people have this notion that it's like should be a lot of friction. So, and they have been enjoying it. So that's fun.
Right. Awesome. So, the next game is from WeMade. Obviously, WeMade is not quite an indie developer. They are a huge studio, they have a lot of resources, and you will see that in these production values. Be hyped for this one. Night Crows. There you go, looks pretty cool to me. Seems like massive battles with lots of players, and you really can get a taste here of the talents of the Korean developers. I just want to say that thing. I know a lot of Korean developers, and they are extremely talented over there. It's crazy, really, what they put together with little resources.
If I just might add, that's a mobile game.
Oh, yeah.
On Unreal 5. So you can go to App Store or Google Play and download it. Just keep in mind, and additional assets will be like 7 gigabytes. But come on, you can tell that it requires that.
Yeah, Korean phones have a lot of memory. These people really know how technology works. So, you want to say anything else about Night Crows?
Well, I'm happy to tell you a little bit more, because when we were talking about Web3, the game first was launched as a traditional free-to-play version last year only in Korea. So let's say like a soft launch just in Korea. And then this year in March, it was fully launched globally with the Web3 enablement. But keep in mind that as a player, you have zero interaction with Web3 until you reach level 45, right? So you really need to get already engaged into the game to feel the value and have the ownership of something that actually is of value. Now, the thing is that with the Web3 version, we had like 88% higher day 30 retention compared to the base Web2 version. That's a lot. But then additionally, once the game launched in March this year, we had 24.6% day one conversion to paying user. And that's within, let's say, the traditional probably experience on the, let's say, free-to-play part, because you get to level only like to the Web3 experience at level 45, right? So that shows that the fact that the people know that playing the game is an investment also for them, it increases their engagement into the game long term, right? So that's why I think it's worth looking into the aspects of Web3 as a potential to actually increase the engagement of your community, of your players within the game, and at the same time sharing with them the benefits of the time and effort they spend playing the game.
Thank you, Stan. So now we have seen some games. Let's talk about some particular topics I've been chosen. My first question for you is this one. What is a Web3 game? What is a Web3 game? What is that even?
Actually, I did not check Wikipedia to tell you exactly. So it's hard to tell, to be honest, right? But generally, in my opinion, a Web3 game should have some kind of blockchain component within it. And for me, the blockchain is, or what is the beauty about blockchain is that you can have the ownership, that it's decentralized, right? So you can, everybody can see that, hey, you own the thing, but at the same time, without the need of the developer or somebody, you can perform a transaction to sell this ownership of the item.
So you mentioned blockchain, you mentioned decentralization. I personally believe the decentralized aspect is one of the most important things about Web3. That's what it's all about. But I also wonder, does it mean Web3 also equals, for example, pay to earn? Is Web3 pay to earn?
I mean, it's one early model of it, but it's like any type of games. I mean, there's so many different models. I mean, just when we've been showcasing our game here today, it's just a game. People love it for being a game, and then when we reveal that it's actually a Web3 game, they get very surprised because they perceive Web3 games to be something else. But
So
yes, that was the first sort of generation of games that come out. But I would say also the ownership of your assets and the centralization is a main component of Web3 games.
all right,
But it can be any type of game.
can there be Web3 games without pay to earn?
Of course, of course.
That's interesting, because what I hear very often if it comes to criticism is that these are all pay to earn games and people hate this stuff. That's what I hear quite often in terms of criticism, and OK has a reply to that.
Sorry, but that is just saying is every game, every free-to-play game, are all of them pay to win?
It's similar, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's very much similar. So, like, I mean, we have a very firm standpoint that our game is not play to earn. We will never be play to earn. Yes,
Can I ask you then, why do you use the blockchain then if it's not play to earn?
Because we generally believe that, I mean, what I didn't tell you, my background is also in the secondary market for Diablo 2 back in 2001. We did have one of the first e-commerce web page selling D2 items on eBay. Now, with all of that is that we also noticed the clunkiness and some of the trust issues that comes with the secondary market for open trading. So what we want to do is to try and use a technology to actually remove some of the trust issues that exist in the secondary market trading. Anybody who's been playing Path of Exile knows that. Anybody who's done trading on D2 items knows that. And so that was one of the things where we were looking at this technology, like this can probably solve some of these things. And one of the things that we were very successful in 2001 was we knew how to dupe items for Diablo 2, which is not something we want to do for our own game, right? But I was young back then. So there's these things that we're trying to do and how we're trying to solve these things for the player and to create better player alignment on other aspects in the in-game economy. But I'm not going to go into that. But that is the first step that we looked into with this technology. It wasn't from a financial standpoint, just to be super clear.
Yeah, something interesting as well in regards to that is that you sold D2 items on eBay, and I was part of a team that worked with, or we did boosting services for World of Warcraft characters like PvP. It's a big market. All of these games, online games in particular, have a market for secondary items. They have boosting services, character trading. You have G2G, for example, one big website that handles that. But all of this is like illegal activity. The games are not catering for these players who want to have an open market for it. And of course, it's all because the games themselves isn't designed for that as well. The economy usually is not made for, having a secondary market included. But I think all of these things, when we give the power to the players to allow them to do these things and also include that in our design, I think we can do so much more.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to point out that I got to know Oliver as one of the most hardcore MMORPG players out there. He knows so many of them, and he really absorbs these kind of games. And knowing this, hearing him say these things is really important, I think. Lenny wants to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to add as well. I mean, we also use blockchain technology in our game for something that's not related to financial models or anything at all. We actually use it for our characters to have lasting memories.
How does that work?
What's that?
How does that work?
Well, our characters, they're also AI powered, so you evolve with them and you can change their personalities and so on. But the way you act with them and play with them in the game can change their characteristics and so on. And the metadata of that characters are stored on the blockchain. So the things you do in the game and the history of it, that will be in a immutable state and last forever. So the impact of your choices matters. So that's the way for us to create player autonomy in the game.
So like the history and the personality even of the characters manifests in the blockchain.
Exactly.
And since it's decentralized, it cannot be deleted by anyone. It will always stay there with the character.
Exactly.
That feels like pretty decent Web3 game design, if I may use that term.
Thank you.
Okay, allow me to ask you that next question. Have you experienced negativity due to your work with decentralized technologies? Negativity from the community, from the players maybe, or from maybe other game developers here at the conference maybe, or at other conferences?
I mean, perhaps you can speak about when you were going to have this presentation. You had some comments, right, on the social media that you were going to have this talk. Now I'm like paneling you, but good to hear about that as well.
I have that. I have that with me today, actually.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
But there's been a ton of negativity. But I'm kind of the kind of founder that there's always going to be like this. I shouldn't use always, but touching Web3, we knew that there was going to be some negative comments, or from the traditional gaming industry, maybe publisher, prejudgmental mindset. But that wasn't new to us as a team, because we had the same, in my team, experience with free-to-play back in 2013, where people were telling, if you were a game studio launching free-to-play on Steam, you were stupid, basically. All the experts in the industry said it couldn't be done. And then it was fun to see what Path of Exile did for Steam, and was non-pay to win. And all of a sudden, all the experts, well, then it's like, oh, maybe it works actually. so we, as a team, we kind of like, okay, here we go again. Yes, you start talking about something, about the game and the game mechanics, and maybe a publisher leads, oh, that sounds cool. And then you mention something about Web3, then it's like, cringe. Right. I'm like, okay.
I think that's an awesome example, the comparison with the free-to-play times when it was new and it came up. Who was there working for the games industry at that time, like maybe 10, 12 years ago? Who has been working for the games industry already? Anyone? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you guys over there hear me. Wow. The Mighty Diamonds, because the Mighty Diamonds are all like super experienced people working for 30 years or so in the games industry already. They all say like, yeah, we do. Yes, I experienced that the same thing. I started in free-to-play. That was my own career. And when I went to the conferences, everyone was like, oh, come on, pay-to-win stuff and so on. Nobody wants that stuff here. That's what I felt, the toxicity. These days, like half of the games over there are free-to-play games, service games of some kind. Times have been changing because we realize sometimes there's also some good free-to-play games out there, like maybe Fortnite, maybe some other examples there. Good free-to-play games, come on. Help me out, please.
Good. What did you say?
Free-to-play games.
Good free-to-play games. I mean, like I said, I like Path of Exile. I think it's a good
Path of
example.
Exile, yeah, of
someone
course.
else have to come with an example, but I can just think of that right now.
Yeah. With high production values, narratives, and so on. 10 years ago, everyone said free-to-play games don't have narratives, don't have stories and stuff. Now, the world looks a little bit different. I also did a little bit of research, and I'm not old enough for that, but apparently the dot-com bubble was a bit similar at that time, when everyone was like annoyed about the new technologies, everyone tries to do something with it now, but nobody really knows what to do with it, and everyone was just annoyed. Just to have a little bit of comparison. So I thought that's a really good example with the free-to-play. Thank you for that one.
I think we're seeing something similar as well with AI, of course. I mean, people talk about AI as also something that it's like both negative and positive, but I know that like half of the industry is using it as part of their production, like not as like creating content or like using it in their game, but as part of the, you know, helping as a co-development or whatever. Like it's getting used in more and more.
Yeah.
And it's going from this negative shift to like, you know, it's just accepted as being part of the everyday life.
Yeah, it's a buzzword issue, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I do understand. Hearing this all the time everywhere, AI, Web3, all these kind of things can get really annoying. But then again, there's also so much good stuff happening with that stuff. And I know you guys work a lot with AI as well. You basically check all the buzzword boxes. But I have seen their game, and there's some awesome stuff they're doing with AI, which is truly meaningful for the game, for the narrative, for the personality of the characters, which is then again manifested in the blockchain. That's some really interesting stuff. You should have a look at this and get inspired. Allow me to jump to the next question, please. What strategies does your team employ to address concerns related to decentralized tech? So these critics, what do you do to address them?
I'll talk about it from a different angle. I mean, some of the negativity or challenges we had at least a couple of years ago, or last year even, I mean, it's when it comes to recruitment and finding the right talent, and a lot of talent might have different conceptions of what a Web3 game is. So I think, but for us it's addressing it like, yeah, we want to find the right talent, but we also need to show that we have an awesome project and a great game that we're working on, and also that we're a great studio to work at. So when we're in the interview process, it might come in with sort of negative mindset, but then when we actually talk about the game vision, Oliver talks about, we show the vision for the art style and everything, they're like, wow, you're actually creating something really cool here. So I mean, it's about showing and not just telling. So I think just if you have an amazing game or project that you're working on, and also that you're a good environment to work in, that's how you solve that problem. I mean,
and also, from my perspective, working with game design and game direction, I usually, the game designers that we have working at us is people who really find working with new challenges exciting. And building decentralized tech, like building games with game design that has to take in aspect the challenges that comes with blockchain, and doing something deterministic or whatever it is, that it's completely new ways of thinking about building or doing game design, basically. If it's about like looting mechanics, if it's about the whatever gameplay aspects, basically, you have to think about how it will work when it's running on the blockchain, if it's a backend. So yeah, that is something I think the team is really happy to work on, that there's a lot of new challenges that they want to, beat.
Sounds like a lot of game design problem solving going on there.
Yeah,
That's
very
cool.
much.
Yeah. You got to know about the Antler guys. I know them for a couple of years now. They have been working on premium games, on free-to-play games, on PC games, mobile games, even VR, AR games. VR as well, actually. VR as well, wow. So they have been trying a lot of different things. I think the reason for that is because you always try to work with innovative or new technologies to put yourself into like a challenging position, but also improve and get better and solve these problems you have with the technologies, right?
The studio has been up and running since 2016. We started doing VR. So I can say for the past 8 years, I've never worked on a normal game. Like, I've never worked with like a classic single-player experience with the traditional game design and just like, yeah. So, but I think it's fun. I mean, I'm still part of the company because it's so fun to work with these new challenges. Yeah.
All right. Good stuff so far. Keep going. I have this little special question, actually, which is how are Web3 games and blockchain tech addressed at design universities? I want to ask this question because I believe that especially at universities, we should talk early on about new technologies and how to create great games with them, for example, or if there's even a possibility, or maybe it's just a bad technology we shouldn't use. So I asked my stage assistants, who's a game design student, to do a little bit of a study about it and ask her co-students how their sentiment is towards Web3 games, and I asked her if they learn anything about Web3 at the university. Maybe you want to say a few words about that very quick.
Yeah, hi, I'm Alina. Actually, we have a course in blockchain technology and NFT business, but for me as a game design student, I never really saw any of that because sadly, it was only for business students. And yeah, this is really sad. I think for us game design students, we should have the opportunity to learn more about this, learn more about new technologies. And it's a common misconception about blockchain technology that it's only for business aspects and making money aspects, but it's not. It can be a game design aspect as well.
Yeah, when I hear that, I was personally a little bit sad about it because I believe it's education, right? We should also educate about this topic, no matter if the result is a positive or negative one, but I believe the students should also know about this just as they know about free-to-play and premium games. I think, Stan, you wanted to say something about that too?
If I might add to that. Actually, I think, and this is something that we were discussing at a panel I was last week with, together with Yatsu from Animoca in Warsaw, that we all believe that actually it's going to be gaming which will be at the forefront of Web3 adoption in general. I'm not talking just about Web3 gaming, but also that for many people, gaming in the future will be their first interaction with wallets and crypto, right? So that's interesting because usually if you think about, I don't know, traditional stock market and so on, not many people have an account on a stock exchange and so on. But how many gamers we have in the world? It's a couple billions, right? So I believe that through that way of gaming, people will get educated and will become better in terms of managing their financial wallets, etc., right? Because they will learn in investing through their games. So that's going to be a big changer. But in terms of like, you know, Web3 design universities, it's the same thing as with AI. If I would ask you like, okay, how well is AI at the universities? And usually at the university, you first have to create the program of the study, then get it approved by somebody, and 5 years later, it starts. And in AI or Web3, that's already would be super outdated. So I think over here, it's more about the communities, right? Because Web3, one of the big aspects, which I think we didn't mention here so far, is the communities. because very often they drive a lot of the development and engagement. There is a lot of users who, through Web3, have the possibility actually to also invest or support the teams that they believe will generate or create amazing experiences that they always wanted to have as games, but they did not have the possibility because, hey, they were not listed on the stock market or they could not reach to them and so on, right? So I think there will be a lot of change that Web3 gaming will introduce into other areas of the usual day-by-day and economy in general.
I think you said something really important there, Stan. Thank you for that. And that is, especially, people want to play around first with the technology before they actually use it for serious cases. This is what games are great for. Me, as a games researcher, I understand that. Why do people play? It's important for us to develop our brains, to learn new things and so on. First thing we do with stuff, with tools or something, is playing around first. Then we learn how to use them. And the same thing, just as you said, that works exactly with Web3 as well. It's a really good point, I believe. Thank you. Let's jump to the next question. That is, how are Web3 games viewed across different global regions? I ask this question because I travel around a lot. I love going over to Asia, Japan, Korea, spend my time there with friends and people from the games community. What I realize over there is that Web3, NFTs, blockchain, crypto is perceived very differently compared to Europe.
I can add on that because we made this Korean game development company, but with the launch of Nightcrows, we've seen huge amount of users coming from Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines. And actually, if you even go back like 2 years, then Axie Infinity was a big game changer for whole Philippines and Indonesia. Because during the COVID times, there were people who were sitting in their homes and they couldn't even go to their work to actually make money. And Axie allowed them to make some important revenues for them. So in terms of the developing countries, I think it's a very, very important aspect because people, through investing their time, can, due to the decentralized structure of blockchain, they can benefit from the revenues or from the money that is being invested from people from West where they don't have maybe time, but they have the resources. So that's something that is like Web3 over there is very positive, but because it supports them and gives them a possibility to make some revenue that will support many of those families. For example, with Nightcrows, we put like 0 marketing budget in South America, and it turned out it's close to 10% of the revenues is coming from South America, including Brazil, in the game. So that shows that it's very positively seen in those areas because it's a way to, as mentioned, it's a connection between gaming. So something that people love to be doing, right? And at the same, something that it can turn out as an investment as well.
So now, sorry, Oliver. One moment, I have one more thing to say. So you mentioned now a lot of money making with in Southeast Asia, with Axie Infinity in this case, and so on. I do understand that in Southeast Asia it often works like this, and these were the Web3 games which were really successful there, where people also were able to make money with. However, I know about the Koreans, they have very, very, very high standards if it comes to gaming. They are real hardcore gamers. They love difficult games. They love narrative, story, graphics, all that kind of stuff. So I feel like almost the most hardcore gamers in the entire world. How is their sentiment? Talking about hardcore gamers, my cards are falling.
I think, first of all, like officially, Web3 is not really allowed in Korea, right? So when we did launch our game, it's for Korea, it's just the regular free-to-play version. But I would in general say like, okay, so you do play the hardcore type of games where you spend a lot of time, right? Definitely this type of games. Sometimes you also invest some money in it to get better gear, to upgrade your character and so on. And with traditional games, at some moment when you don't have the time anymore, or you got a little bit bored, or it's taking you too much of the time, you would just leave your account. That's it, and you would have zero out of that. And with Web3, there is actually some value. If you need to switch, you have to drop it, then you can actually put it on the marketplace, and that time and effort that was put into it can be of value. So I think it's just like another, it's giving the users something back, in short.
Can we have some disagreement on this panel as well?
No disagreement.
Yeah, okay, all right, sorry. No, but I think sometimes giving the players a false hope of like earning something, giving the players a false hope of earning something is what I think started making this industry, or giving it a bad reputation to start with, because a lot of the, like I said, playing the game for the only for the financial and not for the purpose of fun. You know, for me, games are something that is played because you want to have fun. I mean, we fight for players' attention, and that attention is either put on their, you know, they watch Netflix, they play a game, and there's like small percentage that are actually gonna do something with your product. But games for me is something that is, you know, about the fun, and I think this is why less and less play to earn is something that is being marketed, because they realize that this kind of model is very easy to, that there's a 1% that earn all of the everything basically in the game, and the rest, like you did here, you lost your investment basically. I think it's still the case today. You know, you haven't come up with better designs for this. It's just that it's you know, kind of poor design basically for me personally as well.
Right. I love this discussion of the different perspectives. We have more of a business side over there, over here more of a creative side, and even within the Web3 community and indie teams, there's a lot of discussion going on. This is also what I see in my everyday job, and I think this is also something important to understand. Even in these teams, there's so much discussion about how to make a good, proper Web3 game, which we sometimes forget. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to add to that, and I agree to what you just said. We're completely in sync on that, but I think because that question is also a question from the industry. Like, it's not just from, when I'm traveling, I've been spending a lot of time in Asia. If I'm talking to Neovis, if I'm talking to WeMade, or if I'm talking to Kakao, and in Korea, they're all looking at Web3. They understand that this is something, it's something here to stay. And I applaud WeMade. I mean, you guys are really like, you're not tiptoeing, you're like going all in. And history-wise, it's kind of interesting looking into Korea, because that market has had a tendency of bringing like what comes into the future of consumer behavior and what technology is being used, specifically in looking at games. So I often ask, like when I have people ask me, like when I'm traveling, like go to Korea is my recommendation, and check out some of the market and how they're behaving, and what they're focusing on. When I'm looking at East, and I'm also talking to look at something like Square Enix and other studios out of Japan. It's quite interesting. It's like, it's not a few of them. When I'm looking at East, everybody's coming with this technology. And so then the question is, what have they figured out over there in the East that we in the West haven't figured out? Because we're still arguing if Web3 is a scam. That's quite interesting. But I'll let the Western Hemisphere continue arguing about it, and I'm going to continue building.
Thank you. That's awesome input. I love it. That has been basically all my questions for you guys at this moment. I still have some extra for you. And I guess 8 more minutes? Is this what it means? Nice. Let's talk a little bit more about Okke. This truly happened. When was that? 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Okke was announcing this panel on LinkedIn, right? It had a different name at that time. It was still like a working title. We changed it later. However, he was announcing that he's going to be here. He's invited by me. I said, let's talk about stuff and so on. Harmless, I believe. So, here was the thing. A comment. 2 hours after he posted this. So the name, you cannot read that there. The name of the panel at that time, the working title was Toxicity Towards Web3 and NFT Indie Game Devs. The comment says, you spelled toward where you meant off. Also misused indie to the point of parody. So what that person is saying, the title of our panel here should have been Toxicity of Web3 and NFT Indie Game Devs, and the indie game, it's not indie games. That's what that person apparently is saying. At least these are indie game studios in my books. I don't know about you guys, but that's how I would consider it. Sounds still pretty harmless, right? It's not too bad. It's kind of weird, but okay. If you think that, if you agree with that, then also let me know. We are open here for criticism. However, I want to ask the question, is this constructive criticism or is this already toxic? What do you think? Toxic or still constructive? Anyone? Just shout at me. Shout at me. Toxic, constructive, anyone? Okay, toxic already. Okay, then wait for this. Okay, reply to that. Okay's reply, you can read it later. It's still there, I think. Reply to that, and then there was much more text coming. I'm not sure if you can read that from there. But what they are saying is, and you, of course, turned down this cringe fest and explained how ridiculous it is to call outing scammers toxicity, right? Oh no, my mistake. You went straight to whining about this supposed problem. Oh my God, you poor victim of toxicity. I hope you and your fellow scammers, victims, can recover someday and have fun at your lovely circle with gentle, rhythmic, mutual hand motions, crying to each other how persecuted you are. Constructive or toxic? Constructive, anyone? Constructive, anyone? Very constructive. And I'm not a Web3 developer myself. I just work with decent people. That's what I believe. And I think, why? On LinkedIn, a business platform, these people just want to make good games. Just leave them alone.
You know what I do? I stay out of social media.
Yeah,
completely.
He does.
I just build games instead.
Come on, like, of course there were also scammers, and there are, and there will be, but it's like a regular word. If there is some potential money involved into something, there always will be somebody who wants to make advantage of somebody else. But if there are actually like developers who want to do something good into that, you should be supporting those instead of, you know, bitching around that something is wrong, right? So that's why I think we should definitely applaud to the guys who are trying to do their best to show a good example. You're welcome, guys.
Fortunately, there are no Web3 talks at this year's conference. Speaker at the Baltic Dev Days 2023 randomly at the start of their talk. This is what I heard, and I took that note, and I wanted to bring it up at some point, and the point is today. Why do we have to say this? His talk was not even about Web3 games. Would we still do this for free-to-play games? Would we say something about, like this about free-to-play games or games with servers in them? I believe this is not quite fair. That is my opinion, though. Your opinion is much more important, and therefore I have this one. We only have 3 minutes left, but I want to give you that chance to write something down. Scan the code quick. You can write something. What is your opinion? How do we want to deal with this situation? Any solutions? Or maybe if you have another opinion on that, let me know. We cannot talk about it. We don't have enough time, but I want to collect your opinions anyways. scan the code or go to menti.com and use the code on top. Does it work or any issues with that? Good? If you type it in, it should show up right away, actually. But you, sorry.
If somebody more needs to scan, let me know. And
I hope it's working. Anyone sent their comment already?
okay, something there.
Something there. More education around Web3 and better infrastructure in games that utilize Web3 instead of abusing it. Yes, I think. Mint those comments. That is awesome. That's money making. Nice business. This is the same thing people were saying about free-to-play a decade ago. The industry always hates new business models. It will just take time. We make good games. We need to gently hold hands. Let's do, no, not now, not now. Code of conduct. Keep the discussion friendly and constructive. Be curious and be kind. Look at the good and the bad. By the way, you can like comments, and the most liked one gets a prize. Like them now, if you still have it open. If not, then you're out. Irgendwie kann man diesen Code wegmachen. Educate, oh, we said that already. Educate what Web3 games and what benefits over Web2 brings. Yeah, benefits. We need to see actual games out there that work and are fun and so on, and then we will probably start seeing the benefits. So I believe this is a really true point. Obviously, people are skeptical until we have some really good examples on the market. But we are working on it, right?
Yes, we are.
I see... What about the likes? Okay, I don't know. Okay, my like system doesn't work. It doesn't matter. I improvise. So thank you for your input. This is awesome. No, I haven't. We have our conclusion, I believe. We did this very well. That was teamwork. Awesome. If you want to follow me, that's my QR code. Follow me on YouTube. I have content. Yes, it's cringe, but it's content. And I have a course that's going to release this summer. If you scan this, you will go to my link tree. Scroll to the bottom. You don't commit to anything, but I will let you know when the course is online, and you get 50% off if you still want it at that time. So no commitment. This is your chance. Who is following me already? Anyone following me already? No? No one wants the prize? Okay, no one gets the prize. I brought a Super Mario Kart deck from Akihabara in Japan. I brought it to you and nobody wants that prize. My cards are still over there. You can scan them later. Thank you so much for this. I feel that was really constructive this time. It was not toxic. Thank you so much for helping out here. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't like it, let me know as well. You know how to contact me. This talk was brought to you by the Mighty Diamonds and by these beautiful people. Thank you very much. Have a very nice evening.